Committee will please come back to order.
Thank you. I might sign on.
Thank you, members, for coming back. And I'm hoping that we can move through our remaining business pretty quickly, because I know the weather isn't so great, and a lot of people probably want to get on the road. So Representative Franson has offered the A1 amendment. I think we have it before us. Does anyone not have the amendment? And Representative Franson, to your amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. So my amendment, Elizabeth, do you want to just go over it?
Ms. Clark-Fist?
Sure. Representative Franson, Madam Chair and members. So this amendment does two things. It expands the scope of the existing grant program to include the idea of sexual violence. And it also amends the definition of domestic violence and sexual assault to be domestic violence, sexual violence, and sexual assault includes the listed items on page 2, lines 15 to 20, and it adds female genital mutilation to that list.
Okay, so Representative Franson, if you could explain the amendment, please, or
Sure.
why you're moving this
Yeah.
amendment?
So thank you. So female genital mutilation is sexual violence. It's sexual assault as it destroys the genital anatomy and causes permanent disfigurement and lifelong health and sexual complications. Around the world, more than 200 million have been affected by this, according to the World Health Organization. And with the two girls that were taken from Minnesota to Michigan to have this barbaric procedure performed, I feel that this is a good start into making sure that not one more little girl is harmed. And female genital mutilation is on par with sexual abuse, certainly qualifies as sexual violence. It's a human rights issue, gender violence, and women's health issue.
So Representative Franson, could you explain, besides that piece, and we understand that the amendment adds female genital mutilation to the list here under subdivision 3 as one of the things that would be defined as domestic violence and sexual assault, but why, if you could explain, why are you adding the term sexual violence throughout the bill?
Yes. The sexual violence goes right on with the, let's see here if I can find the chapter of law there. Fits right in with the 609.342 and being criminal sexual conduct in the first degree. So it would be rape with a dangerous weapon, statutory rape, or rape with an assault are examples of those crimes. And I think by using an object to harm a woman in such a way would be considered sexual assault.
So,
It also, in the bill that I have, it's House File, can't think of the House File right now. But anyway, the female genital mutilation bill that I had brought forward to the House floor in 2017 that I reintroduced this year classifies female genital mutilation as sexual assault as well.
so Representative Becker-Finn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I acknowledge, the attention you're trying to bring to this issue. I think because, the way that this law would function, if in the definition, and as you just said, Representative Franson, you said, genital mutilation is sexual assault. So if we're already including sexual assault in the definition, I think we can still include what you want to include by just having lines 1.6 through 1.9 from the amendment. I just think it kind of, it just adds additional words and complicates things in a way that I don't think is necessary by adding the word sexual violence. I think domestic violence and sexual assault, already includes sexual violence. And by, we're defining what it means within the bill. And so I think that should cover it without adding the word sexual violence throughout.
Okay, but At the,
Representative Franson.
thank you. In the end goal, though, we are including female genital mutilation in this, correct?
Madam Chair.
Representative Becker-Finn.
Yeah, my suggestion, I would accept your suggestion, but instead of the entire A1 amendment, I would say that we would just move the lines 1.6 through 1.9, so you're still adding that number 7 within the definition, but then not changing the entire title of the bill and just making it really a long title when I think sexual violence, the intent is that sexual violence would be included within that definition.
Okay.
So Representative Becker-Finn, what you're suggesting then is to strike lines 1.2 to 1.5 of the amendment and 1.10 to 1.11?
Correct, Madam Chair.
And so that would leave lines 1.6 to 1.9 if we were to do that. And Representative Franson, would you incorporate that into your amendment?
Yes.
Okay, so Representative Franson incorporates that change into her amendment, striking striking lines 1.2 to 1.5 and striking lines 1.10 to 1.11. And Ms. Clark-Fisk, does that work still for the amendment? And she says it does. Okay. So Representative Franson is moving the A1 amendment with that change incorporated. All those in favor, please say aye. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what, members? I didn't open it up for other discussion. I'm sorry. Is there any other discussion? Okay, seeing none. All right. So all those in favor of the A1 amendment as amended, or as with the changes incorporated, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. No. The motion prevails, and the amendment as amended is passed. So is there any other discussion to the bill? Is there anyone else, and I'm sorry we didn't do this earlier, but is there anyone else in the room, and any members of the public who want to testify for or against the bill? Okay, is there any other discussion to the bill? All right, seeing none, so House File 479 as amended will be laid over for possible inclusion in the division bill. And Representative Becker-Finn?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I just want to bring folks back to the testimony that we heard today. It was a little distracting at the end of the hearing with how things happened today, but at the end of the day, I do want to acknowledge the stories that were shared with us and how important it is that those folks were willing to come forward and share some really traumatic experiences that they went through. And there is a toll on folks when they're willing to come out in the public and share those things with us. And so I just want to bring us back to keeping that as really the focus of today's hearing.
Yes, thank you, Representative Becker-Finn, and we certainly appreciated hearing from the testifiers. And I would just remind members, we don't have a 24-hour rule in this committee. It really is my intention that we be able to work on bills and that everybody's ideas be brought forward. But in order to make this a smooth process, if you have a bill, an amendment you'd like to make, please try to talk to the bill author or bring it to me as the chair. And if you're not able to get it drafted, if it's, I understand this one was kind of drafted at the last second, there might not have been time, but let us know it's coming, just so that we can try to pace ourselves and try to, on bills where members really want to give input, and I appreciate that members do want to give input often, just to try to, it's a learning experience, I understand, because we haven't done this procedure in a number of years, but it would be good if we could kind of all work together as a group and have a little bit more respectful process, I would say, so that we have time and can pace ourselves and don't end up coming back in the evening like this. So with that, members, the bill is laid over for possible inclusion, and thank you very much for coming back, and we are adjourned.